What's up guys, Matty here. In today's video, we're gonna be checking out a new plugin from Acustica Audio called Ash. Now what this plugin is a sample of a bunch of different super high-end audio converters that you can use to clip the signal and get your final master louder. For years, mastering engineers have used converters from high-end audio companies like Lavry and Prism to clip the signal and get an extra dB or two of level. And sometimes by clipping the signal, it will sound better and less intrusive than limiting the signal where, sometimes it's pulling your kicks down. This way, it's just kind of shaving the kick off, but still keeping the same energy. Now, some people call this process slightly archaic at this stage in 2022, but I still think that a little bit of clipping can go a long way to make your master louder. And even though some of the streaming platforms are requiring -14 LUFS for deliverables, everybody's still stupid loud, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So this could be a great way for you to get your mix a little bit louder, but while keeping the dynamics. So in today's video, we are going to check out this new plugin. We'll talk about some of the different converters they are sampling, and we'll just hear what it's doing. Let's go. All right, guys, so here's the plugin here. It is pretty straightforward. You have an input and output gain. These are your meters, RMS or peaks. And this is going to be your gain reduction and then your ceiling over 0. Mid-side processing if you want it, which is nice to have if you want to just, clip the middle and leave the sides alone. Soft and hard clipping, which is different forms of clipping. We can take a listen, and it has a post clipper. This is how hard you are going to be pushing into the clipper right here. Then you have auto, which is nice to have, auto gain compensation, so you can hear exactly what you're doing and make sure you're not destroying your transients. LUFS, LUFS, if you want to switch to that form of metering. Bypass, delta mode, which is cool. You can hear what the clipper's actually doing, and we'll take a listen to that. And then just a -1 to turn it down -1. Oversampling up to 1024, so crazy amount of oversampling. And then the modes. This is the kind of the cool part. So these are all different kinds of converters that they sampled to do this project. And they have some pretty amazing ones. They have the digital Acustica, which I believe is the Fire the Clip. I don't know which one that's sampled. And a lot of these are just guesses, so, take all this with a grain of salt. But I'm pretty sure that's what that is. The Gray 8X, I can imagine, is the Prism converter, which is used by a ton of super high-end mastering engineers. Colin at Sing Mastering uses this as his main converter. And then the D2, which is a different Prism converter, is the Dream 2, which is a 2-channel converter. So the 8X is the 8-channel, and the 2X, the D2, is a 2-channel. So those are pretty cool. Onyx, I believe, is an Apogee. And then Platinum, I'm just going out on a limb and saying this is maybe the Antelope converter. Pure 2 is what it's called. Steedle, from what I've read, is a custom converter thing by someone that's, kind of homebrewed type thing. I was wondering, because it's got this transfo hard and soft, if it might be the dangerous one, but who knows. Yellow K3, this is where the magic is. So this is Lavry. These are like what everyone has always used. Jason Joshua uses it. The guys over Bernie Grudman use this for clipping. So, it's a pretty famous clipper. I'm sure you've seen it. I'll put a picture up on the thing. But what they have is there's different versions, obviously. So there's a MK3 version, an S version, and then an X version. So they have different versions of the Lavry that you can listen to. And then they have at different levels. And I assume this plus force, they all have saturation. So they have saturation, S for saturation, I'm assuming. Like I said, take this all with a grain of salt, but is with the saturation. And then there's probably some sort of smoothing feature, which, they used that too. So you can do it, with different levels of saturation, hear what that sounds like, and if it's, improves or doesn't for your song. Enough of the yip yap, let's get into this. So I just have this loop of this beat here, and I'm just gonna loop it over and over again. I think that's the best way we can kind of hear what this is doing. We'll start in a bypass so you can hear what it is. And then we're going to clip this thing pretty hard. Normally, I'd probably do 1 or 2 just for best practices. You don't want to clip it too hard, but we can actually really hear what this thing is doing and get an idea of how far you can push it. So let's get into it. We'll start it with a bypass just so you guys can hear the beat unclipped, and then we'll slowly kind of move through these. Let's start with the digital Acustica one and take a listen, and then we'll talk about what we think about all the clippers. So that's a good, sample of all of them. Man, that yellow X6, you don't hear it as much as some of the other ones. It's pretty, it's taken off a lot, and it's not that noticeable. You notice, especially the Dream 2 one. We go back to this one here, the Gray D2. You really heard the clipper working, right? Let's take a listen just so you guys can hear it. The signal kind of fell apart. So, different ones, you can probably only push so much. And like I said, we probably wouldn't be pushing this that much. But the cool thing is if you hit this Delta button, we can listen to what it's actually clipping. Let me just play through a couple of them with the Delta in. It's obvious it will be most of the transient stuff that's getting clipped, but you can hear it, just how they sound differently. And it almost sounds like that D2 is clipping more of the low end, and that's probably why it sounds so kind of distorted compared to this, where it sounded like it was clipping more of the higher mids. So that could be, part of the reason maybe one sounds a little more distorted than the other. And then you can switch the, the hard soft. Not hearing a huge difference. I think it got a little crunchier when it was hard. But yeah, you know, really cool to have the ability to do this with, you know, a plugin. So that's basically it for the Ash plugin from Acustica. This is pretty cool. It's something I've been hoping someone could do, you know, sample some of the best converters in the business, and then we could have the ability to use them and clip them. It's gonna be fun to play with in mastering when, you know, you gotta take something and make it even louder than you can. Sometimes clipping it a couple dB, then placing your limiter will do the trick and give you that loudness you want. Let me know what you guys think of the Ash Clipper, Acustica Clipper, whatever you want to call it, in the comments below. If you do need your songs mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also find my courses and presets there too. Talk to you guys soon.